a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Action-packed lineup for you today. Dr. Scott Anderson in studio with us. Share the Love Charities. We're going to talk about the mental health crisis happening in Florida and the United States, and some of the results of different, where it comes from, how maybe some of the solutions as well. We also have CPA Dwayne Bischoff as well in studio with us. Bischoff and Associates. We're going to talk about tax strategies. Also got a clip I'm going to play about another sample or situation of weaponized IRS coming after a nonprofit organization, and more coming up here on the show. Before we do, I'll let you know about Brio Tuscan Grill, Tampa Bay restaurant partner, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Fresh from scratch, Tuscan-inspired recipes. Absolutely delicious salmon fresca and other popular items. Happy hour Monday through Friday as well. More bang for your buck there. They offer catering, private dining experiences upstairs. They have room for banquets and events, rehearsal dinners, weddings, as well as a E-Club rewards program. Say hello to Chef Oscar Ramirez or Joseph, the general manager. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you, and they're going to hook you up with a free appetizer, compliments of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Just let them know you heard about them right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, we always like to feature our real estate properties as part of our strategy. This is the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're powered by the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty, and 7300 Southwind Drive, another one of our hot listings. We've got 60 listings now with the current with our real estate team. 7300 Southwind Drive in Hudson, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1726 square feet. This property, this home, offers a perfect blend of comfort and luxury in a tranquil setting. You have a double lot here. You have an 18 by 30 foot pool surrounded by a generous sized patio, covered seating spaces, ideal for relaxation and enjoying that Florida sunshine. An outdoor bar as well that just really rounds out and completes this oasis, making it a ultimate spot for entertaining in your own private backyard. Now, you have a location close to the Gulf of Mexico. What I love about Sea Pines as well is you have a community boat ramp, so you can put your boat in right there at the community boat ramp in Sea Pines, and go out and enjoy that beautiful Florida lifestyle in the Gulf of Mexico. 7300 Southwind Drive in Hudson, Florida. One of our hot real estate listings from the Platinum MVP team. 1301 Rowan Tree Drive. This is a large single-family home on a corner lot location. 5 bedrooms, 3 bath, 3-car garage, 4223 square feet. It is a large 2-story family home on an oversized lot, coveted corner lot, hardwood flooring, high ceilings, granite countertops, wood cabinets, stainless steel appliances, a breakfast bar, and a separate island. You have a large bedrooms here as well, garden tub in the master bath, separate walk-in shower, sinks with granite countertops. Gorgeous property here in Tampa Bay, and clothesline with its own kitchen as well. 1301 Rowan Tree Drive in Dover, and you can see all of our real estate listings at Platinum Coastal Elite. Check out PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Dr. Scott Anderson, welcome back in studio, sir.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And this is, I enjoyed our first interview, and I'm looking forward to this one because, mental health is something that really drives so much of the media narratives, and you see all the different threats and things happening. But can you give us some idea of what exactly are we facing here in America with this mental health crisis?
Right now, without a doubt, we are facing a mental health crisis. I mean, I think it's abundantly clear to anybody that has a television or social media. You can turn on the TV every single day and you see crisis after crisis of school shootings or mass shootings, war, toxic relationships, domestic violence, on and on and on,
Yeah.
sex trafficking, children abuse, all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
And we like to attribute that to things that are more symptomatic of the problem rather than getting to the underlying problem.
Yeah.
The one thing a lot of people just don't want to talk about is the elephant in the room, which is it's mental health. It's the deterioration of mental stability that causes all of these things to happen. Right now, 7 out of 10 people statistically you're looking at 7 out of 10 people in the United States suffer with substance abuse and mental health issues.
Wow.
You're looking at that's 140 million people approximately suffering with that. So does it affect society? And people want to know, well, yeah, what does that have to do with me? I'm not one of those people. Well, society's collapse should alarm people.
Yeah.
And certainly there's a cost to this. There's a massive cost. You're looking at close to $700 billion. That's with a B, $1 billion. That's almost 8% of our national income.
Yeah.
$7 billion, $700 billion in annual loss in workplace productivity. You've got healthcare costs. You've got crime-related costs. You've got welfare, disability costs. All of that added up is about $700 billion.
Wow.
That's incredible. Imagine if that money could be used for the treatment of mental health and substance abuse.
Sure.
Society would correct itself in a hurry, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Again, just a quick stat, 80% of people that commit violent crimes that are in prison and jails right now, 80% of them are diagnosed with substance abuse and mental health disorders. And then you've got the vast majority of people on disability and recipients of welfare that also are diagnosed with substance abuse and mental health.
Wow.
That's astonishing. It's just astonishing.
How did we get here?
Well, the breakdown of the family, we talked about that last show. So a lot of it has to do with politics, and I don't want to get into politics, but certainly a lot of it has to do with the people in charge and not funding the appropriate treatment for substance abuse and mental health.
Yeah.
Insurance companies don't cover it. Nobody wants to fund it. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's a stigma that people stay away from, especially financially. That's why we have the charity. But I would tell you that the breakdown in the family, the deterioration of society stems from not having a connection with people in your community.
Right.
We call it patriotism. We used to have a pledge of allegiance to the United States of America. Right. And that brought a brotherhood, a connection in communities. And that connection is paramount in the way we socially interact. Now with the advent of social media and telephones and, with these iPhones and smartphones and the internet, it's eroded away our social capacities to function properly. And it isolates people, it separates people, and it's caused part of that deterioration of community.
Yeah.
And then church connections with other organizations that are supports in the community, that were staples of support in the community, again, eroded, mostly from politics.
Yeah. Exactly.
So all of that is the cause, the etiology of it.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard it said that especially our younger generation is the most, over-medicated, depressed generation coming up. So it seems like that younger generation, that's aging is only going to make the numbers worse.
Absolutely. That's why I say it's a crisis. Just in the last 15 years, the numbers have skyrocketed for depression, anxiety, suicide. You're talking 200-300 fold.
Yeah.
I mean, 300% up. It's astonishing. It's horrible to watch.
It really is.
Yeah.
Now, in your practices, are these things that you help treat? How does
Absolutely.
This, yep.
We've designed literally education videos, education programs, treatment and therapy based around the rudiments of this. We call them our treatment concepts.
Yep.
And they're designed specifically to get to the underlying root cause of where things come from. Most facilities, unfortunately, use a 12-step program. And not that that's bad, but it's very limited in its efficacy. Whereas we use more of a multidimensional psychodynamic approach where we cover the etiology, the beginning points of family dynamics, parenting, developmental milestones, the anatomy and physiology, the biochemistry, the cognitive, physical, emotional, spiritual, social aspects.
Wow.
And so it's incredibly comprehensive. That's why we have such a high success rate, because we take into effect all of these other areas rather than just doing a 12-step program, which really only caters to stopping and using meetings and support to remember consequences every day. And that only goes so far. If you don't get to the underlying cause of an issue and you only address symptoms, it's only temporarily sedated. And then eventually it's going to come back.
Yeah.
So we want to eradicate the underlying cause, and then the symptoms will dissipate and go away.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. If you just joined us, folks, we're talking with Dr. Scott Anderson here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Share the Love Charities is his website. ShareTheLoveCharities.com, that is the website.
ShareTheLoveCharities.org.
.org.
Yeah, and that'll have a bunch of information and links to the treatment facility Addiction Recovery Care of Tampa.
Yeah, and if you'd like to talk to Dr. Scott Anderson as well, I'd love to hear your feedback to the Consumer Quarterback Show's hotline, 727-263-3707. I'm sure some of this message will resonate with almost anyone out there that has a family or loved ones that may be battling with addiction or some type of mental health situation. 727-263-3707. You can call or text that hotline. We'll put you in touch with his team as well. And let's continue that conversation. Sure. So what else are you seeing out there?
Brandon, think that they're like, well, how does this affect me? And you know what I mean? I get it, mental health, substance abuse,
sure.
But they've become kind of desensitized to it. But just think about the skyrocketing crime rates right now. That's going to affect you. Think about the destruction of the family unit, the toxic relationships, skyrocketing depression, anxiety, suicide, low productivity. Look at the unemployment and people getting on assistance and welfare. These are all societal drains that are devastating.
Yes.
And the biggest one, the one that I'm going to probably cover that's going to affect the most people, is the deterioration of the physical health and well-being of people.
Right.
Mental health and substance abuse erode the physical health and well-being of the individual. And if you're not healthy, if you're not well, if you're not mentally stable, how are you going to be productive? How are you going to function in society? The answer is you won't.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing. We're literally seeing that, and that's the cause of all this other stuff.
Yeah, it really is. And it also brings me to a clip that I'm going to play here. There's a clip that I want to play. It's about this shooting incident that just happened, the manifesto. And if you remember when this first happened, the manifesto was released, and here's the reaction, and we'll talk about it on the flip side.
Hale, the name of the transsexual shooter, referred to the day as a death day and said, "Can't believe I'm doing this. I hope my victims aren't ready. I hope I have a high death count. Kill those kids." Quote, "Going to a fancy private school with those fancy khakis and sports backpacks with their daddies and Mustangs. Want to kill all you little crackers. Bunch of little censored with your white privileges." Interesting, the awkward grammatical form of white privileges. So it speaks to the IQ of this individual, maybe diminished by hormone intake. Who knows? "I might be 10 minutes tops. It might be 3 to 7. It's going to go quick," and so on. And so what's interesting from this narratively is that a lot of people would expect, given that it was a transsexual shooter at a Christian school, this would have had a religious motivation. But it looks like it's just plain old anti-white, kill whitey rhetoric, which is quite fascinating.
Which is crazy, and that's just a absolutely bizarre clip, isn't it? I mean, just when you try to get into the mind through these manifestos, how would you break down the mindset of that individual?
Well, to me, listening to that's elementary. Basically what happens is you have a child that's, and again, if you look into the family dynamics of how he was raised, you're going to find dysfunction, because
Right.
1 + 1 = 2.
Exactly.
So he presents his 2. I know 1 + 1 is there, regardless of what the media says. Basically, when you're raised without discipline, structure, routine, connection, love, attention, sense of belonging to the family, we call that a part of our treatment concepts. What happens is that child doesn't learn impulse control. They don't learn delayed gratification. They don't have a connection to other people. So then they're being greatly influenced, and can be greatly influenced and indoctrinated by our school system, which is perverse at best these days. Where he's picking up these ideologies, and he's so desperate to connect and to be part of and belong to something.
Exactly.
In this particular case, the radical left
Yep.
in those ideologies, that he's connected with that and literally morphed into the embodiment of those ideologies.
Yeah.
And acting these out is of course that's going to happen, because he's been rejected, he's been hurt,
Yep.
he's been disillusioned, and he's suffering. And what do hurt people do? They hurt people.
They try to hurt people.
And
Yep.
so you get this a combination of this perfect storm. Of course, I would expect nothing else than him to go do these things.
Yeah.
And again, with regards to him, this being a race thing or a religious thing, I don't know. I don't think it is so much as it is an ideology of the left.
Yeah.
That all white people should be hated and persecuted and blamed.
Yeah, oppressor
so it's more
versus
of a
oppressed.
victim mentality that
Exactly,
you see
yeah.
here, rather than, and I know everybody wants to spin race and so on,
Yep.
but I don't believe that be the case, because you have to look deeper into it.
Yep.
So I do think it's more of just an ideological indoctrination, and that this guy's acting this out because he's
Exactly.
desperate, he's hopeless,
Yep.
and he's lost his. When you lose hope, it's a short period of time before the end is near.
Yeah, that's right. And they want to be famous, so they go out that way.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break there. More with Dr. Scott Anderson coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, online at consumerqb.com. Check us out online, consumerqb.com. Also, youtube.com, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty. We'll be right back here. More with Dr. Scott Anderson coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
I want to give a special thanks to Satellite Phone Store. They just hooked me up with this beautiful satellite phone, and it's a gorgeous phone. It's a great device. It's a safety device as well. Think about it. If you're out on the boat 40, 50 miles out, maybe you're going hunting or you're going hiking in the woods somewhere, you run out of cell phone service, or who knows, maybe a possible terrorist attack. It's not like our politicians aren't entrenched in all this stuff going on overseas, all over the place, all over the world. Could be a terrorist attack. They could attack the power grid. They could attack the cell phones. Who knows what they're going to attack next. Sat123.com/REQB. Sat for satellite. Sat123.com/REQB, like real estate quarterback.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back with Dr. Scott Anderson here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. ShareTheLoveCharities.org. Coming up, we're going to talk about his golf tournament as well coming up here, charity golf tournament. Before we do, quick listing here. We got a hot listing here at 11722 County Road 672. This is a commercial property, and it could be seen as a residential property as well. You got a single-family home on site. You have a large warehouse, 100-foot by 40-foot expansive warehouse, and it's operating currently as a farm. You've got citrus trees, palm trees, 20 acres of land, 11722 County Road 672 in Riverview. Great opportunity to own real estate here in Tampa Bay. And you can see all of our 60 listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. All right, we got Dr. Scott Anderson in the house. And, Doc, we wanted to make sure we plugged the golf event coming up as well, and then talk a little bit about some of the resolutions and the resolve of these different mental health issues that we've talked about.
Yeah, sure. The ShareTheLoveCharities.org. It's a charity that's specifically designed to raise funds to provide education support for veterans and families in the community suffering with substance abuse and mental health. There's really not many, few and very far between, entities that raise funds for scholarships to help people get back on their feet and become productive and stable and reunite the family. This is one of the few, if not maybe the only that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So that's what the purpose of the golf course or the golf tournament is.
Friday, January 19th,
Yeah.
7:30. It's an all-day event. You got
Yeah.
$130 per player, lunch, banquet, dinner, drinks.
Yep, that
sponsorship
includes lunch,
opportunities.
banquet dinner, foods, drinks, everything. So it's actually very cheap. We have a lot of fun activities going on, as like most of them do. But it's for a great cause, and it's immediate. When that fund goes, you literally will be funding treatment for people within a week.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. All right, and then the second part is the resolution. How do we help
well,
people here?
In my practice, and I see thousands and thousands of people over the years, and I can tell you the biggest complaints that I get are depression, anxiety, worry, stomach upset, low energy. You've got lack of motivation, brain fog, short-term memory loss, diminished capacity for pleasure, sexual, low sex drive, ED, erectile dysfunction, aches and pains, and insomnia. That's 90% of the complaints that would make human beings uncomfortable. So how to address that? And there's a long answer. Obviously, it would take weeks, and then the short answer that I devised. The short answer is pretty simple. The solutions to do this, and again, this is a short-term fix, but it will certainly bring you on the path, is one, stop eating out at restaurants. Not completely, but limit it. Stop eating processed foods, fast foods. It has to stop. It's poison. It's literally poison. And it causes, you put bad gas in your engine, the car's going to break down or run terribly. Same with the human. Second to that is get active. Exercise. You need regular exercise or activity. Walking around. Get outside. Reconnect.
Get a sweat.
To outside. Breathe fresh air. Get sun.
Yep.
Those things are crucial for your health and well-being. And the next one, stop binge drinking. I'll get to that at the end, but binge drinking causes depression, anxiety, sleep problems. I'll go over that one at the very end. Get off the phone. Disconnect from the matrix. That's probably one of the most dangerous things, is being on your social media and engaged in that little box, television, social media, for longer than an hour and a half a day. It's dangerous. It is literally dangerous. Finally, quit the fad diets and so on. When you binge drink regularly, what happens is you're hungover, you eat garbage, you're staying up all night, you're not getting sleep, and that creates to obesity in America, which is 70% of the population are obese.
Wow.
The average woman's 5'4", 170, average man 5'9", 200. That has unbelievable effects on your health.
Yeah, I can see that, man. I can definitely see that.
So we need to address that crisis as well, which is, again, the etiology of that is mental health.
Plug your YouTube as well. You said you had a lot of videos
I do have,
on your YouTube.
It's Dr. Anderson on YouTube, Dr. Anderson Addiction on YouTube. I have about 57, 60 videos, all education-based, and they're out there for people who can't afford treatment, don't have access to it, so that they can have free access to get help and to learn about and to make corrections for mental stability. And I put that out there for free to help people who can't afford it or have access to it.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, hey, Dr. Scott Anderson, always a pleasure having you in studio. That was awesome. ShareTheLoveCharities.org for more information. And don't forget, mark your calendar, January 19th, charity golf event here in Tampa Bay. Thanks again. Thanks for coming in.
Welcome. My pleasure.
All right, taking a quick break. Coming back, CPA Dwayne Bischoff, Bischoff and Associates, certified public accountant, coming on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get it.